In the ever-changing rhythm of life, when people chase distant goals, few realize that true strength arises from stillness. Stillness is not emptiness, not weakness, nor an escape from life. It is a vibrant state where the mind returns to itself, where the heart awakens to clarity. When you allow the noise outside to cease, when the turmoil of thoughts settles, a pure energy emerges from within. It needs no display, yet it can transform the way you see the world. On quiet mornings, as the gentle sun rises and the sky remains untouched by the rush of the day, sit in silence, close your eyes, and breathe slowly. Feel each breath moving through your body. Hear your heartbeat. You will notice peace seeping into every cell, every corner of your soul. In those simple moments, you touch a power that no external force can grant you. Buddhism teaches that when the mind is calm, wisdom shines. Stillness does not make you weak, it makes you resilient. For when you are no longer carried away by circumstances, you stand firmly on your own ground. Think of a rock amidst the ocean, unmoved despite raging waves, or an ancient tree standing in the storm, deeply rooted in the earth. Humans, too, when grounded in inner stillness, are no longer swayed by praise or criticism, by loss or change. They live with acceptance, gratitude, and unconditional love. In Western society, where life moves fast, strength is often sought in achievements, power, and recognition. Yet the stillness taught by Buddhism opens another way, a power that needs no proof, no comparison, only presence. One who sits quietly in mindfulness may be stronger than thousands rushing aimlessly. They know who they are. They know what truly matters, and they know how to let go, remaining gentle yet unshaken. Picture an afternoon where you sit by the window, watching leaves fall slowly. Time feels as if it stops. There are no worries about tomorrow, no regrets about yesterday, only this moment. In that complete presence, you see everything as perfect as it is. You no longer wish to change the world, you only wish to understand and love it. This is the strength of stillness, the strength that helps you overcome fear and storms within. Stillness also teaches you to listen, not only to sounds around you, but to the voice inside. That voice is sometimes faint, hidden beneath the noise of thoughts, but in silence it becomes clear. It reminds you of what is right, of kindness, of the path to peace. When the mind is calm, you see every problem clearly, and solutions arise not through struggle, but through acceptance and love. The outside world may be chaotic, but your inner world can always be a safe refuge if you nurture stillness. Pause each day, even for a few minutes, to reconnect with yourself. Gradually, you will realize that the peace within is stronger than any chaos outside. When you are calm, everything around you becomes calm. The inner strength born from stillness does not come overnight. It comes from consistent practice, from choosing to listen rather than react, to observe rather than judge, to love rather than resist. It is a journey, and each step on this journey is an awakening. And one day, you will understand that the greatest strength you possess is the ability to remain peaceful in every circumstance. In the journey of being human, no one can escape moments of suffering. In the Buddha's teaching, suffering, known as dukkha, is the first noble truth, an inherent reality of life. Pain arises from loss, illness, separation, or disappointment, like the first arrow that strikes, causing unavoidable hurt. Yet what makes suffering heavier is the mind's reaction. When fear, self-blame, and endless negative thoughts arise, that is the second arrow we shoot at ourselves. The first arrow is beyond our control, but the second is our choice, though we often do not realize it. The more one struggles against pain, the more layers of suffering are created. Resistance agitates the mind and delays healing. The Dharma teaches that instead of running away, we should look deeply into the nature of things, for in that confrontation, wisdom is born. Life is impermanent. Everything changes. Nothing lasts forever. Understanding this, we learn to accept what comes and goes as part of existence. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It means opening the heart to learn and to grow. When a loved one passes away, the pain of loss is the first arrow. But if we drown in resentment, blaming ourselves with "if only" or "why," the second arrow pierces deeply, prolonging suffering. A Buddhist story tells of a woman who lost her child. She sought the Buddha to ask for a miracle to bring him back. The Buddha told her to fetch a mustard seed from a house untouched by death. She searched everywhere, but found none. Finally, she realized that death is a universal truth, and from this understanding, she let go of her pain and found peace. Accepting impermanence is the first step to healing. When we no longer cling to what has passed, we create space for the new to enter. When suffering is observed in mindfulness, it ceases to be a burden and becomes a teacher, teaching us to love, to empathize, to live more deeply. In modern Western society, people often avoid pain with medication, entertainment, work, or fleeting pleasures. But buried pain only sleeps, waiting to erupt. Only when we sit down, breathe deeply, and embrace suffering with compassion do we truly transform it. Imagine holding a crying child. You do not scold or silence the child. You gently soothe until the crying subsides. Pain is the same, needing to be recognized and embraced, not rejected. In stillness, you will hear the voice of suffering, and within it, you will find a message about growth. Suffering teaches you to appreciate what you have, to love what is fragile, to live the present moment as the most precious gift. Each time you transcend pain, you become stronger, wiser. You understand that life does not promise ease, but always offers the chance to grow through each trial. And someday, you will smile at the tears you once shed, because they have shaped the peaceful being you are today.
There are moments when the mind feels like a sky filled with dark clouds, where anxiety arrives suddenly like an unexpected storm, making you feel small, powerless, and swept away. Anxiety is not only fear, it is also the stream of repetitive thoughts drowning you in a whirlpool of unease. In such moments, people often identify with their thoughts, believing they are their worries, that fear defines who they are. But Buddhism teaches that you are not what passes through your mind, you are the observer of it. When you silently remind yourself, this is just a thought, something miraculous happens. A small gap appears between you and the emotion. This gap, though subtle, opens up an entire sky of freedom. You see thoughts coming and going like clouds drifting across the vast sky. You realize you are no longer controlled by them, no longer drowning in the waves of anxiety, but standing safely on the shore, observing everything with a calm heart. This awareness is mindfulness. When mindfulness is present, anxiety loses its power over you. It becomes only a phenomenon that arises and fades, not your identity. In Western culture, people often try to control their thoughts, to push away negative feelings. But the more they resist, the stronger anxiety grows. The Dharma does not teach us to defeat emotions, but to look at them gently, without judgment. Imagine sitting by a river with anxious thoughts like dry leaves floating on the water. You do not need to catch them, nor push them away. You simply watch them drift by.
When you practice this, your mind becomes as spacious as the sky, where anxiety is only a passing cloud. Anxiety may return, but each time it does, you have another chance to practice, to remind yourself that you are the sky, not the clouds. You are the observer, not the storm. In the space between you and your emotions, a serene sanctuary appears. There you breathe deeply, you feel safe, and you realize anxiety cannot harm you unless you cling to it. True freedom lies not in eliminating all negative thoughts, but in the ability to not identify with them. When you are no longer bound by the mind, you live lightly, openly, and with greater love. Repeat this mantra whenever unease arises. Let it be the key that opens the door out of anxiety's prison. For beyond every storm, the sky remains clear, and within you, there is always an unshaken peace waiting to be discovered.
There are times when the mind feels like a small leaf carried away by the rushing stream of life, swept along by memories of the past and fears of the future. In those moments,
People often search for refuge outside themselves, not knowing that within their very breath lies a steady anchor. Mindful breathing is the doorway back to the present, the only place where life truly exists, where all anxiety melts away like morning dew under the sun. When you inhale and know you are inhaling, exhale and know you are exhaling, your mind gradually separates from the whirlwind of thoughts. That breath is like a clear stream, washing away tension from every cell. Just a few minutes of mindful breathing calms your heart, clears your mind, and awakens a quiet peace. The Buddha taught that the breath is the bridge between body and mind, the anchor that leads you home. In Western culture, people often seek solutions outside, tranquilizers, therapy, or busyness to escape worries. But when they learn to return to their breath, they discover the answer has always been within. You need do nothing but sit quietly, place your hand on your belly, and feel it rise as you inhale and fall as you exhale. You do not need to control the breath, simply observe it as if listening to a dear friend. When the mind wanders to thoughts, gently bring your attention back to the breath. Each time you do this, you train resilience, like a rower keeping balance amid waves. Mindful breathing frees you from the prison of past and future, two things that exist only in thought. The present moment is the most precious gift, and only through the breath can you truly touch it. At first, your mind may still be restless, but with patience, you will see the transformation. Anxiety fades, focus sharpens, and you feel a new strength forming. This practice requires no special place, only where you are. Whether sitting on a bus, walking in a park, or even washing dishes, you can breathe mindfully. Each conscious breath is like a drop of cool water, soothing the thirst of your soul. And each time you return to the breath, you return to yourself. In Buddhist meditation, monks walk slowly, breathing deeply, never rushing. They know that every breath, every step is an opportunity to live more deeply. When you practice this, you too will feel the serenity they embody. Mindful breathing is not just a technique, it is a way of life. It teaches patience, self-love, and presence in every moment. One who breathes mindfully knows how to embrace both joy and sorrow, how to rest in peace under any circumstance. For within the breath lies life, peace, and freedom. When you feel anxiety rising, stop, place your hand over your heart, and breathe deeply. Whisper to yourself, "I am here, I am safe." In that simple act, you open a sanctuary of peace within, where anxiety cannot reach. Gradually, mindful breathing becomes the strong anchor that keeps your mind from being swept away by life's storms. In the quiet of the morning, when sunlight softly touches the window and the breeze gently stirs the leaves, you can begin the day with slow, mindful actions. There is no need for grand plans or harsh efforts. Simply waking up with presence, feeling each breath and heartbeat, you have already planted a seed of peace in your day. Gentle discipline, known in Pali as sila,
is not about imposing rigid rules, but about caring for and nurturing the soul through simple acts. Each small action, when performed with mindfulness, becomes a sacred ritual, a step along the path toward inner peace. When you tidy your bed with attention, your mind also becomes as orderly as the room itself. When you sit quietly, sipping tea, feeling the warmth spread through you, your heart is warmed by full presence. These small things seem simple, yet they have the power to transform life, for they create a solid foundation where the mind rests and wisdom shines. In the Buddha's teaching, Sila is not merely about keeping precepts. It is about living in harmony with yourself and the world. It is how you care for each thought, each word, each action, so that it causes no harm but nurtures goodness. In Western culture, discipline is often seen as restriction, a pressure to achieve. But discipline in Buddhism is a gentle path where you do not chase perfection, you simply return to your innate goodness. Each day, as you practice small habits with love, you are building a mind that is no longer swept away by chaos, a heart that knows how to rest joyfully in the present. The softness of this discipline does not make you weak, it strengthens you, like an ancient tree standing firm in storms.
You do not need to prove your strength, for the serenity radiating from you is the clearest proof. When you walk slowly, breathe deeply, and work with mindfulness, you plant seeds of inner freedom. Day by day, these small habits weave a strong fabric of peace for your entire life. Gentle discipline is also the subtle care of yourself. You know what you need. You listen to your body. You nurture your soul with what is wholesome. You do not force yourself to become someone else, nor suppress emotions. You embrace them, transform them. In that care, you find a tender strength, the power of self-love. And when you love yourself, you easily love the world. Monks often start their day with walking meditation. Each step slow, each breath deep. They are in no rush, for they know every step is a return home. You too can practice this wherever you are, whatever you do. Keep awareness in your heart. When drinking tea, just drink tea. When washing dishes, just wash dishes. When working, be fully with your work. Full presence in every small act is the manifestation of gentle discipline. This habit not only brings temporary calm, but builds lasting inner strength, helping you stand firm through all challenges. Life will always have storms, but with a foundation built from caring for yourself through a conscious way of living, you will find you no longer fear, no longer waver, because within you there is a safe place to return to. This is the quiet strength Sila brings, a power that does not need to show off, yet is enough to carry you through every change.
Throughout life, people often carry invisible burdens. They are not heavy objects the hands can drop, but stones in the heart that slow the steps and tire the soul. The Buddha taught that the root of suffering lies not in the outer world, but in the inner clinging. We hold tightly to thoughts, habits, and familiar things, unaware that they are the very source of our pain. Among countless burdens, 3 bind the mind most quietly: complaining, clinging to comfort, and the belief that it is too late to change. Complaining is like a drop of water falling endlessly on a rock, eventually carving a deep hole. When we complain, we feed negative energy within. Instead of finding solutions, we spiral deeper into problems. Complaining does not make life better. It only darkens the mind. Each time you notice yourself complaining, pause, breathe deeply, and ask, "Does this make me more peaceful?" If not, put it down, like setting aside an unnecessary load. The second burden is clinging to comfort. Everyone loves ease, but when we fear change, when we refuse to leave our comfort zone, we build a golden cage. We think we are safe, yet our spirit is imprisoned. The Dharma teaches that awakening comes when we dare to step beyond the familiar. Embracing discomfort and facing challenges is how the mind grows. Learn to relax the hand that clings tightly, to see that only by letting go can you receive the new.
The final burden is the excuse, "too late." Many tell themselves, "It's too late, I cannot change," and they stop, settling for a half-lived life. But the truth is, every breath is a new beginning. It is never too late to let go, to live differently, to find peace. The Buddha was once a prince, living in luxury, yet he let go of it all as an adult, and from that letting go, he found enlightenment. We too can learn from this. Letting go is not loss, it is liberation. You do not have to force yourself to forget. Simply look at what no longer serves your peace, then gently release it. Like a leaf falling from a tree at the right time, you do not have to pull it off. It drops naturally. Each time you release a burden, your heart feels lighter, your steps freer, and a new sky opens within you. In Western thought, letting go is often mistaken for giving up, but Buddhism makes it clear that letting go is an act of wisdom. Giving up comes from fear. Letting go comes from understanding. When you see that everything is impermanent, you realize holding on only brings pain. When you see that peace does not come from control, you dare to loosen your grip. With every exhale, you let go of a little tension, a little fear. Let every day be a chance to set down another burden in your heart. You will realize that happiness does not come from adding more, but from having less. When the invisible chains fall away, your mind flies free, unafraid, unbound. Letting go does not make you weak, it makes you free. And in that freedom, you truly find yourself.
There are moments in life, especially in old age, when people are easily haunted by fears, worries, and memories that arise uninvited. Anxiety comes like sudden waves, shaking the mind and making the breath heavy. Yet deep beneath all these disturbances, there is always a space of stillness, unchanging, where nothing can reach. The Buddha taught that both body and mind are impermanent, constantly changing, and nothing truly belongs to us. When we identify with our thoughts and emotions, we imprison ourselves in the cycle of suffering. This is why the mantra, "This is not mine, this is not me," becomes a key to liberation. Each time anxiety arises, gently whisper these words. They are not just a statement, but an awakening. They help you detach from what is not real, to see that you are not the fear, not the unease, not the old judgments or fading memories. You are the vast sky where all emotional clouds simply pass. You are the silent space that no storm can destroy. Practicing this mantra allows older people to feel lighter, as they realize that anxiety, illness, and the body's decline are only temporary phenomena. The true self is not the aging body, not the ever-changing thoughts, but the still, luminous presence untouched by time. The Dharma teaches that all phenomena are without self, meaning nothing exists independently, nothing truly belongs to us. When you understand this, you no longer cling to emotions, no longer see them as your identity. Anxiety may arise, but you watch it. You let it come and go without taking it as yourself. The mantra, "This is not mine, this is not me," reminds you that emotions are passing guests while you are the peaceful home. In Western thought, many believe they must control anxiety, but control only strengthens it. Buddhism does not teach control. It teaches recognition and letting go. When you look directly at fear and say, "This is not me," you are freeing yourself. You are no longer a prisoner of the mind, but a free observer. Each time you repeat this mantra, you create a space between yourself and the emotion, and in that space, you find peace. The body may weaken, memory may fade, but the stillness within you remains intact. When you touch that stillness, you will see that fear dissolves, anxiety loses its grip. You are simply present, breathing, living as you truly are, not the fleeting thoughts or emotions. And in that presence, you find liberation.
In life, no one escapes moments when anxiety quietly creeps in like a wave, shaking the inner sky. Anxiety makes you feel lost, tightens your heart, and often floods your mind with harsh self-criticism. Most people, when facing such states, tend to turn against themselves, believing they are weak, unworthy of peace, or not strong enough to overcome. Yet Buddhism teaches that no wound ever heals through judgment, and no soul blossoms in the darkness of self-condemnation. Only compassion, beginning with yourself, can heal and open the gate to inner freedom. When anxiety rises, instead of running away or suppressing it, pause, breathe deeply, and place your hand over your heart. At that moment, whisper, "May I be kind to myself in this moment." This simple phrase acts like a soothing balm for the mind. It reminds you that you deserve love,
that you are worthy of kindness even in your most chaotic moments. In Buddhist teaching, loving kindness, metta, is not only directed outward, but must begin within. A withered heart cannot water others, and a mind that constantly wounds itself cannot spread love. Practicing self-compassion is the first step to nurturing inner strength, to standing firm amidst storms. In Western culture, strength is often mistaken for the ability to suppress emotions and hide vulnerability. But true strength lies not in hiding fear, but in facing it, embracing it, and loving yourself through the storm. Imagine a crying child. You would not scold it for being weak. You would hold it, soothe it, whisper that everything will be okay. Your heart deserves the same care when it trembles. Compassion for yourself not only calms current anxiety, but also regenerates the deep love within, healing old wounds long ignored. In Western culture, strength is often mistaken for the ability to suppress emotions and hide vulnerability. But true strength lies not in hiding fear, but in facing it, embracing it, and loving yourself through the storm. Imagine a crying child. You would not scold it for being weak. You would hold it, soothe it, whisper that everything will be okay. Your heart deserves the same care when it trembles. Compassion for yourself not only calms current anxiety, but also regenerates the deep love within, healing old wounds long ignored.
When you practice, you feel lighter, sensing a warm energy spreading through your chest, softening the rigid corners of the mind. Every time anxiety appears, see it as an opportunity to practice. Instead of saying, "Why am I like this?" say, "I am having a hard time, and I need my own kindness." Changing the words changes the feeling, and gradually you learn to stand by yourself rather than against yourself. In each breath, in each gentle whisper, you plant the seed of peace. Like the sun never ceases to shine, self-compassion will become the light that warms the dark corners of your heart. Those who love themselves truly find the world gentler. They no longer fear anxiety's arrival, for they know how to hold themselves, to say that everything will pass, and that within them there is always a safe place to return. Practicing self-compassion requires no rituals. You only need to pause, listen, and understand yourself. Speak kind words to yourself daily, even when you fail, even when you fall short. Forgive yourself, for you are human, learning to grow. When you love yourself, you no longer seek external validation, for you have found acceptance within. In that acceptance, anxiety is no longer an enemy, but a teacher, reminding you to return to compassion. The outer world may constantly change, but if there is a flame of love within, you will never feel alone. Loving yourself is a journey, not a destination. Each day, take small steps, speak kindly to yourself, embrace yourself in hardship, and gradually you will see a new being blooming inside, serene, steady, and full of love. The moments when the mind finds stillness, a new door opens,
revealing that inner strength does not only come from standing still amidst storms, but also from the ability to be compassionate. Compassion is the deep acceptance that no one in this world is perfect, that everyone carries wounds, untold stories, and mistakes of the past. When the mind is calm enough, it becomes clear enough to see this truth and soft enough to forgive itself, naturally extending forgiveness to others. The Buddha taught that no one can avoid mistakes, but the wise learn from them, embrace them, and gently let them go. Compassion is not about condoning wrongs, but about seeing everything with the eyes of understanding and love. Toward yourself, compassion means stopping the judgment through scars, stopping the self-torment through an unchangeable past. When you forgive yourself, you free your heart from invisible chains that have bound you too long. From this freedom, love and kindness toward others blooms naturally. In Western culture, forgiveness is often seen as an act toward others. But in Buddhism, forgiveness is first a gift to oneself. Holding on to anger or hatred only hurts you more. When you practice compassion, you put down the burden, giving yourself the chance to be at peace. Compassion does not make you weak. It makes you stronger, because only those brave enough dare to love while having been hurt. Compassion is also understanding that the actions of others sometimes stem from pains unseen. Seeing this, instead of reacting with anger, you can choose to respond with empathy. Compassion is the bridge connecting your heart with the hearts of others, dissolving walls, soothing wounds. It softens what was rigid, melts what was painful. When compassion expands, it becomes a source of strength that keeps you from being imprisoned by resentment, allowing you to live in the freedom of love. Compassion does not mean forgetting everything, but remembering without pain, looking back without blame. It helps you live lightly, no longer dragging the past into the present. Practicing compassion means placing yourself in another's shoes, feeling their pain, and expanding your heart. The stillness within is the soil that nourishes the seed of compassion. When the mind is no longer restless, it listens, seeing clearly that all beings are seeking happiness in their own way, even if that way has caused you pain. In this realization, loving kindness blooms, and compassion becomes a natural part of you. The world becomes gentler when everyone learns to be compassionate with themselves and with others. Begin with small things. Forgive yourself for stumbling. Forgive someone because they lacked understanding. Let each day be an opportunity to widen your heart. When the heart is wide enough, every storm becomes small. Compassion is the strength that makes you firm but not hard, soft but not weak, able to love even when love is the hardest thing to give. When you practice compassion, you step out of the darkness of suffering into the light of peace. When we allow our minds to settle in stillness, an undeniable yet often forgotten truth becomes clear. Everything changes. No moment is ever the same as another. No day remains exactly as yesterday. In the light of wisdom, this constant change is no longer a source of fear, but a profound beauty, a great teaching that life continually offers. The Buddha taught that all phenomena are impermanent, and this very impermanence opens the door to liberation. When we do not accept impermanence, we cling to what is fragile. We try to hold on to what cannot be held. And in that attachment, suffering arises. But when we understand that everything comes and goes like drifting clouds, the heart opens, becomes light, no longer bound by the fear of loss. Impermanence reminds us to love more, to cherish more, because we know that everything stays with us only briefly. In the West, where permanence is often sought, impermanence may seem threatening. Yet, through the eyes of awakening, impermanence is the assurance of renewal, the promise of new beginnings. Thanks to impermanence, pain does not last forever. Storms eventually pass. Wounds eventually heal. Thanks to impermanence, even the smallest joys become precious, because we know they will fade, and so we live more fully in each moment. Impermanence does not take life away. It gives life its deepest meaning. It awakens us from forgetfulness, shakes us from the habit of taking things for granted. When we accept impermanence, we no longer fear loss, for we see that loss is simply part of the flow. We no longer cling tightly to the past or worry excessively about the future, because only the present is where life truly unfolds. In this acceptance, we learn to let go, to allow things to come and go naturally without the need to control. The mind becomes like the sky, letting thoughts, emotions, and events pass through like clouds without grasping. Just as spring does not hold on to flowers, summer does not hold on to sunlight. Everything has its time, and when the moment comes, it leaves.
Accepting impermanence does not make us indifferent. It makes us live more deeply, love more fully, because every look, every touch, every word becomes precious. Knowing that one day we will no longer see someone we love them wholeheartedly today. Knowing that an opportunity will not return, we embrace it completely. Impermanence teaches us gratitude for all that has been and all that is here now. In the busyness of life, take time to sit quietly and observe the changes around you. A falling leaf, a cloud reshaping, a new wrinkle on a face. These changes are not to be feared. They are gentle reminders that life is always moving, that we too are growing with each breath. When we understand impermanence, we see that every attempt to control is an illusion, and we learn to release. This release is not giving up. It is a wise letting go of what cannot be held, while holding on to the peace within. When we flow with life, we no longer fight it. We move with it, lightly, freely. From this acceptance, a new strength emerges,
the strength of a heart unafraid, a heart unbound. And in that heart, every moment becomes sacred, for we know each moment is unique and will never return again.
There are moments when people relentlessly chase distant dreams, believing that happiness lies somewhere ahead, in dazzling success or in grand achievements yet to be reached. But when the mind pauses, when the breath slows and awareness opens in stillness, we see how much beauty exists in the simple things around us. A gentle smile from a stranger, a wildflower blooming by the path, a clear blue sky, or the soft song of birds at dawn, all can fill the heart. This simple joy does not arise from conquests. It arises from the ability to be present, to truly live in the moment. The Buddha taught that happiness is not something to be sought. It has always been within us, waiting to be noticed. When the mind no longer runs after great ambitions, we begin to hear the whisper of life. In the moment you savor a cup of tea, feeling the warmth in your hands and the fragrance spreading through the air, the mind becomes light and serene. This joy is not loud, not dazzling, but it is enduring, profound, and nourishing. It requires no conditions, no possessions, only attention. In Western culture, happiness is often pursued through grand goals and achievements to prove one's worth. But the Dharma reminds us that value lies in living deeply in each moment. Happiness is not a destination, it is the path itself, paved with small joys. When you open your heart to the simple, everything around you becomes miraculous. A breeze makes you smile, a raindrop makes you pause. In this simplicity, there is no comparison, no demand, only gratitude. Gratitude unlocks a new strength, one that does not make you hard, but makes you gentle. You become steadier, not because challenges disappear, but because your heart has found a place to rest within itself. Simple joy is like a small flame in the night, not blinding, but warm enough to dispel darkness. It nourishes inner strength, allowing you to stand firm without strain. You learn to see life through the eyes of a child, finding wonder in what seems ordinary. A step, a breath, a peaceful moment is enough to fill the heart with happiness. When joy no longer depends on the grand, you become free. Nothing external can take away this serenity because it arises from within. Let each day be a simple song, laughter, light, presence. Let your heart open to receive every little thing, and through this you will see how beautiful life truly is. Simple joy requires no search. It only needs you to stop and live, truly live in every moment. And from this joy, inner strength is nourished, so you can stand strong in life while walking gently with every step.
There are moments when people relentlessly chase distant dreams, believing that happiness lies somewhere ahead, in dazzling success or in grand achievements yet to be reached. But when the mind pauses, when the breath slows and awareness opens in stillness,
We see how much beauty exists in the simple things around us. A gentle smile from a stranger, a wildflower blooming by the path, a clear blue sky, or the soft song of birds at dawn, all can fill the heart. This simple joy does not arise from conquests. It arises from the ability to be present, to truly live in the moment. The Buddha taught that happiness is not something to be sought. It has always been within us, waiting to be noticed. When the mind no longer runs after great ambitions, we begin to hear the whisper of life. In the moment you savor a cup of tea, feeling the warmth in your hands and the fragrance spreading through the air, the mind becomes light and serene. This joy is not loud, not dazzling, but it is enduring, profound, and nourishing. It requires no conditions, no possessions, only attention. In Western culture, happiness is often pursued through grand goals and achievements to prove one's worth. But the Dharma reminds us that value lies in living deeply in each moment.
Happiness is not a destination. It is the path itself, paved with small joys. When you open your heart to the simple, everything around you becomes miraculous. A breeze makes you smile. A raindrop makes you pause. In this simplicity, there is no comparison, no demand, only gratitude. Gratitude unlocks a new strength, one that does not make you hard, but makes you gentle. You become steadier, not because challenges disappear, but because your heart has found a place to rest within itself. Simple joy is like a small flame in the night, not blinding, but warm enough to dispel darkness. It nourishes inner strength, allowing you to stand firm without strain. You learn to see life through the eyes of a child, finding wonder in what seems ordinary. A step, a breath, a peaceful moment is enough to fill the heart with happiness. When joy no longer depends on the grand, you become free. Nothing external can take away this serenity because it arises from within. Let each day be a simple song, laughter, light, presence. Let your heart open to receive every little thing, and through this you will see how beautiful life truly is. Simple joy requires no search. It only needs you to stop and live, truly live in every moment. And from this joy, inner strength is nourished, so you can stand strong in life while walking gently with every step.
Many believe that strength is the ability to control everything, to make the world bend to their will. But the deeper truth lies elsewhere. True strength is not found in holding the world, but in holding your own mind steady. When life's storms rise, when everything seems to fall apart, the strongest person is not the one who shouts at fate,
but the one who sits quietly amid the chaos, keeping the heart peaceful, the compassion wide, and the wisdom clear. This strength does not need to display itself, does not need to prove anything, yet it lifts you through every challenge. Each conscious breath is a small but certain step forward. Each moment of mindfulness is a seed planted in the soil of inner freedom. When you breathe in knowing you breathe in, breathe out knowing you breathe out, you connect with an ancient strength already within you. This serene presence is not avoidance or numbness. It is living fully with whatever arises, whether pleasant or painful. It is the ability to remain steady amid adversity without letting the mind be swept away. In Buddhism, this is the path of mindfulness, where every thought, action, and word is illuminated by awareness.
In Western thought, strength is often sought in control, in victory, in imposing will upon circumstances. Yet the strength Buddhism speaks of lies in wise letting go. When you no longer try to control what cannot be controlled, you find freedom. You understand the world is ever-changing, and the only thing you can shape is your own heart's response. In this calm presence, deep wisdom arises, helping you see the true nature of things. When the mind is no longer clouded by fear and anger, you can view everything through eyes of love and clarity. True strength does not make you cold, it makes you compassionate. You realize everyone is struggling with their own pain, and the world needs not more hatred, but more kindness. In serenity, you find the courage to love even when love is hardest. You find patience to wait even when waiting is not easy. You find trust in life, in the flow you are part of. By practicing serene presence daily, even through a few minutes of stillness, a few deep breaths, you build an inner fortress no storm can break. You no longer need to avoid the storm because you know you have a place to return to, yourself, where your mind is calm like a lake, with surface ripples but depths unmoved. True strength is like this. It does not arrive with noise. It blossoms in silence, in mindful stillness. When your heart stands firm like a mountain and soft like flowing water, life is no longer a battle, but a peaceful journey.